You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're teaching Jiu Jitsu, or even keeping your youngest off the mats so you can teach Jiu Jitsu. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to solve the what ifs in life, start training Jiu Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Kevin Johnson to my podcast. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for joining me and taking time out of your weekend. It sounds like it's very busy teaching jiu-jitsu, keeping your youngest children off jiu-jitsu mats, and creating content. Let's start with where you started out in your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got exposed to it when I was younger in high school. We were on vacation. We were watching UFC, and it was Matt Hughes versus Royce Gracie. And I saw that, and me and one of my older brothers kind of had that same look. We're like, let's do this. So we started training MMA. I didn't train at a jiu-jitsu school because at the time there wasn't one really like is early 2000s. There wasn't one around every corner like there is today.
Yeah.
So we would train two different places for grappling and striking. But then after high school, maybe because I just lost too many MMA fights, I was like, maybe this isn't for me. So I went to the Marine Corps, then got out, went in law enforcement. And then once I got into law enforcement, that's what really got me doing jiu-jitsu full time, because there's always that, what if I get in this situation? How am I going to handle myself? And that's what got me to jiu-jitsu. So,
Yeah. And I guess the what if situation, how to kind of deal with things when they come up and preparing yourself so that you can. What were some of the first things that really helped you working in the police to solve those what ifs?
to be honest, and it sounds like, because everybody always asks, they'll say, hey, when did you use, or what time did you use jiu-jitsu to do this or do that? To be honest, training jiu-jitsu, once you and you can ask somebody who's been doing this in law enforcement, I would they probably agree. But once you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a certain amount of time and you're in that line of work, you start just talking more than actually trying to rely on if you can take this person to the ground or not. So it's kind of like a different switch. It's like, oh, I actually don't have to fight that much because I train jiu-jitsu, because you kind of already know what can happen. And so you're kind of like, maybe in your head, you're like, man, I got submitted like 10 times earlier in class today. I don't want to have to grapple again right now. So let's just talk our way out of this. But it just builds you that confidence where you know you can handle yourself. And honestly, I saw it immediately. Like, I would just handle situations differently. It was just talking more. If somebody was trying to fight their way out of being arrested or something, just like, hey, look, this is what it is. It's going to happen either way. So it could be easy or very difficult for both of us. So,
No, I like the fact that you brought that up because whilst I don't have as much experience in kind of martial arts or Brazilian Jiu Jitsu as you do, it has also changed my perception that actually we don't have to use Jiu Jitsu when we're out and about. We certainly probably shouldn't, unless we're in the gym and the mats and we've done our warm-ups or whatever it happens to be.
yeah.
But it just allows us to prepare our mind and body, like you say, for dealing with life situations where we don't have to do jiu-jitsu, but it kind of mentally gives you something really strong that I wasn't expecting when I started training jiu-jitsu. Talk to me about your jiu-jitsu mindset and how it's progressed over the years.
Yeah, I know it was weird. I was actually talking about this with somebody recently. I think we were talking about going to concerts or something. I used to hate big crowds and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like I love it, but being in the military and law enforcement, you're always trained to kind of, always thinking something bad is going to happen. But now training jujitsu, it's weird. Like, I don't mind going to those places anymore because I just feel, not that I'm saying I could take everybody in the crowds. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's just you're more comfortable in bad situations because you're doing it on a daily basis. Whether it's somebody smothering you from side control, whatever it is, or you're underneath somebody's mount and you can't get out. You're used to being in these bad situations now where you can go to these crowds and not feel like an overwhelming sense of like pressure or anything like that. And I think that's what the biggest change I've noticed.
That sounds, I'm resonating with everything you're saying, Kevin, and I feel like I shouldn't, but equally echoing, some of us really don't like being in those big crowds,
Mhm.
and almost the thought of going out and being in a big crowd fills us with anxiety. But the mindset and the preparation that jiu-jitsu gives us, you're right. It makes us feel a lot more comfortable in what used to feel really uncomfortable
Yeah.
situations. Um, do you remember being in any, kind of uncomfortable situations apart from about to be submitted on the mats as a white belt?
Hey, I still get close to. There's people that still submit me today, especially when I roll my professor. You mean like prior to jujitsu or prior to this mindset that I have now? Maybe.
Maybe prior to the mindset that you have now, or even though you've got the mindset that you have now.
Um, yeah. So there's growing up, I had there was a lot of us. There were six kids. Then I had mostly brothers. One little sister. She's the youngest. But my older brothers, there was always, and I don't, maybe they'll listen to this and maybe they'll agree with me. But when we were younger, it was always the older brother's going to win. There's nothing you can do about it. And I was always a short one. When I was younger, I was a heavier set one. I was a chubby kid. So a lot of times they would always be able to get the upper hand on me. They would be able to do whatever they wanted. I couldn't ever fight. But now
Yeah,
I do have one of my brothers who trains jiu-jitsu. He is a lot smaller than me. And when we roll, I outrank him, and it's a fun roll. And he, but he could easily beat me if I wanted to train jiu-jitsu, but the rest of the brothers don't. So it's one of those, like, not that we're all grown up, we would never get into it, we would never argue with each other anymore. But it's like it's one of
yeah,
those where now it feels good to be like, oh, okay, yeah, like I know I'm not the older brother, but I feel like I'm the older brother sometimes when I'm with them because jujitsu and
yeah,
just knowing that sense of confidence and knowing that like I've been in a lot of bad situations. So that's one
yeah,
that always kind of like comes to mind when I'm hanging out with my family. But other than that, it's not jujitsu related. It's just stuff outside of here, like having a family of my own, a lot of kids. There's a lot of stressful moments, and it's like, and my wife trains too, so sometimes we kind of sit there and talk about it. It's like any other couple would probably be freaking out right now, but
yeah.
we do jujitsu. The kids do jujitsu. It's chaos, but we're just kind of relaxed in that chaotic because you can never really control chaos. You just got to contain it and then wait till it's gone. So it kind of helps with that too.
Yeah, as a fellow parent, I completely agree. And having said that, I do really feel, whilst there's no training course to be a parent, I do feel like every potential parent needs to train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for one
Yes,
reason or another.
I would say that parents that have boys as kids, yes, eventually, because one of these days you're gonna have to, you might have to test that who's the hierarchy part thing.
But even when they're kind of young and toddlers, when all their limbs are going all over the place, and you're trying to change their nappy, and you
Yeah, yeah,
go, how do you deal with a human octopus that can
yeah,
just move and shift around?
yeah. That's true, 100%.
Okay, we will go on to talk about family because that's a kind of important part for many of us, whether it's
Mhm.
parents, or whether we have children, or whether we have friends in a community that we feel like are our family. So your wife trains Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and your
Yes.
children as well.
So we have four. Two of them train. One of them is my stepdaughter. She is 20. She turns 22 next month, and she lives on her own. She used to train. She does not anymore. And then the middle two train, the 3 and almost 5 year old, and then the baby. She's not training yet. She's on the mats, but she's not ready to train yet. She's only a year and a half. So
That's the one you're trying to keep off the mat so that you can
yes,
teach.
especially during the
I love.
kids class, because some of the kids have become friends with her, so they see Sophie get on the mat. They're like, Sophie, and I got to keep the kids entertained with jujitsu. So I'm like, no, 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 no.
I love that. Whatever age and whatever responsibility we are, we have to maintain some level of boundary.
Yes, exactly.
So did you and your wife meet training Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? What's the story?
No, we did not meet doing jiu-jitsu. I was, um, she's from England, So I was on a cruise with my family. She was on a cruise with her family. We met on one of like the pubs on the boat, and then she tells people I kept stalking her on Facebook, but she literally the night before we left the boat, she made me find her on Facebook and follow her. So she's the one that was stalking me, not the other way around. At least that's what I'll say to this day. But we continue to talk. We end up making a relationship, getting married, and that's how we met. She did not want to do jiu-jitsu. She would come to the classes or practices, whatever you want to call it, and watch me do it, and she thought it was
Yeah.
the weirdest thing in the world. And then the gym owner, that the gym I was training at, he needed somebody to help work the front desk. And she needed a job, so she did that. And then a year later, she was on the mats doing jiu-jitsu. So that's how she got into it.
Good. It doesn't take long to convert anybody, I fear.
Nah,
It's all good. It's all good.
yeah.
And she enjoys now, and she trains regularly along with you and the kids.
She doesn't train as much anymore. She had the the three young girls we have after my stepdaughter, they're all under the age of 5 right now. So having all those kids that take a lot of time off the mat and stuff. And now there's a group of ladies that train. A lot of them are the moms of the other kids that train in the house.
Yeah.
They become like good little friend groups. So when they're on the mats or they're all there together, they'll train together.
Yeah.
She's not as consistent, but she's never really had aspirations of. She makes a joke saying she'll be a blue belt forever, But whenever she can train, she gets on the mat. I don't push it, and I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think at any, certainly for me, at any belt, you want to stay at that belt rank,
yeah,
and you're quite happy. Um, that
that is.
that we get scared of progression because it's the unknown. We don't know what's coming next, and sometimes we're just quite happy where we are. Leave us alone.
Yes, that's my philosophy right now. I don't mind being a brown belt for I don't care how long it's going to be.
Yeah, oh, it's good. I think bringing jujitsu to families and just encouraging the whole family to take part, or at least have that knowledge, whether it's for self-defense for kind of older teenagers and kind of young adults, or whether it's for parents managing
Hmm.
young toddlers. 3 under 5, Kevin, you're brave. I mean, your wife's brave, but that really does require jujitsu skills.
Yes, and they're all girls, so it's I wouldn't have it any other way though. I don't think I've seen I see the other guys that train here with kids that are boys and how they
Yeah,
act and teaching the kids classes how the boys act. I'm just like I'm so glad I got nothing but girls, but at
yeah,
least I don't know how it is with everybody, but mine are they're a pain sometimes, but they are the three little ones are just amazing, and they're great kids. They don't get up in the middle of the night. They sleep all through the night. Sometimes we have to go wake them up because they're sleeping in. So we have an easy life with three young little ones.
good. I'm pleased to hear that. I've had similar experience. I know friends that don't have quite such, you know, wholesome rest time for themselves,
Yeah.
and they have to juggle all sorts of things. Now, how do you juggle family life and teaching and training jujitsu, Kevin?
Yeah, it gets hard sometimes because there's I teach most all the classes here. I have some people that fill in and stuff, but it's sometimes I get to the point where I feel like I haven't been working on my own jujitsu, and that's when
Yeah,
it gets tough because we got family stuff going on, and there'd be times in the past where I would I don't want to say get angry or just get that kind of when you haven't trained in a while, you're getting that kind of mental state like I need to get something to do something. Um,
yeah,
and it took a couple times maybe, and I think me and the wife would talk about it. And she's just like, tell me one night if you want me to take the girls home early, and then you can focus on training, get your training in. So it's
yeah,
just communication, especially if you're in you know if you have a family, you and your wife, you and your spouse, whoever it is, if the communication is one of the big, especially the ones that have the spouse that doesn't train.
yeah,
It's harder for them to kind of understand, but just communicate with them like, look, I need this.
yeah,
If you want me to be 100% involved outside of this, I need to do this. At least that it's a hard balance for sure, but as long as you communicate, I think
yeah.
that is what makes it 100% possible.
Good. Now, without getting too personal, I want to kind of delve just very lightly into mental health and the benefits of you training and teaching
Hmm.
jiu-jitsu for your own mental health.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cliche to say now, like, oh, mental health for jiu-jitsu is gonna, and it does help, but it's like everybody's heard it now, and the only
Yeah,
way for them to really figure it out is to train. And I think it's because I don't know how to word it without sounding like a macho type. But I'm not one of those guys. But we need to face adversity on a regular basis. And if we don't, or we just get into this complacency, that's just complacency. Or if you're not facing anything hard in life, it may sound good for a little bit, but over a period of time, your body gets used to it. You just get complacent. You're not active. You're not, because nothing is challenging you. And I think
yeah,
jujitsu is a good workout, and like it's when you go there, you can't really uh you can't go to the it's like going to the gym and just saying, oh, I'm just going to kind of go through the motions. You can't do that in jiu-jitsu because the other person may not be thinking that. So when you slap hands and fist bump to roll, they might be trying to get a new submission on you, and you got to fight out of it. So you have to go and actually focus and get dialed in. So I think facing that adversity every day or every other day, whatever many
yeah,
days you train, is what makes, I don't know, just takes away all the problems at the time. It's not going to cure everything for sure. You're going to have that hour and a half of training, and you're going to forget about everything that's going on in life. But then when you
yeah,
have to go face that afterwards, you've kind of got that, I don't know, like a detox, maybe if you want to call it that, to where you can fully face that problem that you have. And it just gets you a clear state of mind, I think. So it definitely helps with mental health. And for me, it's especially when I was a cop, it was amazing because I would go there before going into shift. So it helped me too, like I said earlier, talking ways out of it. When if somebody was
yeah.
trying to fight, I'd go, look, I already did that today for an hour and a half early at my jiu-jitsu, like I'm like, I already did this. So I'm warmed up, ready to go. It's like, it's one of those where you could use it. But yeah, being a cop, it helped a lot because all the stuff we see too in calls and scenes that we're on, it's just a way to get away from everything.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that because
Mhm.
I feel it's always worthwhile touching on some of the mental health
Mhm.
benefits of training jiu-jitsu and how we all deal with it differently. But it sounds like it's really enhanced your own awareness and ability to show up as a jiu-jitsu coach, as well as a very dedicated family man.
Mm. Yeah, 100%.
This episode is sponsored by IV Jiu Jitsu. IV Jiu Jitsu is a veteran and family run Brazilian Jiu Jitsu academy based in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. At IV Jiu Jitsu, you will have the opportunity to boost your confidence, hone your focus, and improve your physical and mental health. Founders Kevin and Alice Johnson work together building something that is truly supporting others to grow, adapt, and thrive in any environment. Whether you're a local wanting regular BJJ classes for yourself or your children, or an international visitor wanting to drop into a live training session and meet new friends, you will be warmly welcomed. To book your trial session or visit the gym, head over to ivjujitsu.com. This is a Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. One of the things that would really help this show grow is by you subscribing on whichever platform you are listening or watching on. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. If you could do that for me right now, I would be forever grateful. And as always, go and check out the clips on YouTube and Instagram. Today, I'm having a conversation with Kevin Johnson, also known as Kevin's Jiu-Jitsu. Kevin, talk to me about your content creation.
Well, so um, I think we briefly talked about it before we started the podcast, but I was a part of Gracie Baja, and me and my wife were having long talks and talking about leaving the affiliation. And it's nothing against GB at all. I think they're a great association affiliation. They do great things. It was just we had different views that we were thinking of, and we wanted to do it the right way and say, hey, we're going to part ways. But before doing that, I knew we were, I'm confident in my jiu-jitsu. I'm not a multi-time world champion. The security you got with GB was a big thing. And I was like, well, what do we do after this. So I was thinking maybe we just put ourselves out there more, to start, you know, making videos, content, whatever, just be somebody in the community and just start to brand myself the way I wanted to, the way I see myself as a jiu-jitsu coach and practitioner.
Yeah.
So that's where social media came in. And honestly, I wouldn't say terrified, but I don't like hearing myself. I'm not a big video type person. I don't do acting and stuff. So I honestly started a meme jujitsu page on Instagram, and that took off. And so then eventually I was like, all right, let me do my own jujitsu page and put my face to it. And that's where Kevin's Jiu-Jitsu came from. I still do the meme page. I'm not on it as much as I am on Kevin's Jiu-Jitsu, but I go in there and just
Yeah.
post a couple memes and then leave. But so yeah, so just posting funny jiu-jitsu memes is what led me to starting Kevin's Jiu-Jitsu.
And what do you get out of producing content for other people to kind of learn from and be humored by, or, you know, whatever? What is in it for you?
At first, it was just to put myself out there, and to have, when we became Ivy Jiu-Jitsu, to have something else attached with it. So people, oh yeah, I see your stuff on Instagram. What I was not expecting, especially with how my content is, more than 70 something percent of it is humor. Um, how many people would come up to me at local tournaments or message me and just say thank you because of my funny content they got back into jiu-jitsu. I was at a tournament recently here locally, and a guy came up to me and said because he started watching my stuff, he went back and started training and got his blue belt recently. And I'm like, I
Nice.
never thought I was going to be that person, because I'm just nothing. I don't really take much serious
Yeah.
on the Instagram stuff. But now it's that I respond to everybody. If they message me, I respond back as soon as I can. If they request
Yeah.
techniques, I might make fun of them in the video when they request a technique, but I'm going to make one for it. You know? Like, but it's just, yeah, it's fun. It's good to be a part of the community and just post funny
Yeah.
stuff that people can resonate with, and all that.
I think there's a lot of white belts out there that may well. I felt like I'd, you know, maybe only a few weeks into being a white belt, someone said, "Oh, you know, look at these reels," and as a white belt, you become a collector of humorous and kind of instructionals, whatever it
Yeah.
happens to be, on Instagram. I daren't look at my saved jiu-jitsu reels. I never ever go back and look at them ever again. But it's really interesting that the guy came up to you and, you know, got back into jiu-jitsu from being a white belt and progressed to a blue belt. Now, do you think that's because you give white belts such a hard time?
No, I honestly, I think it's because even the way I show techniques, I'm not a very detailed person. The way I learn is just show it to me, let me feel it, and then I'll do it.
Yeah,
I don't need to. There's a lot of instructors out there. There's nothing against them if they do this, but it's their own thing. But they use big words, and I don't know. They really try to dissect this one movement, and in reality, that movement's never going to be done 100% the same again. And I think white belts need to understand that you can't
yeah,
mimic exactly what that person is doing. So I think the way I show my moves too, I'm just like very basic. It's I still do stuff that I learned at white belt at this point. And not only do I do that, I find more interesting ways to do such a basic move on people and show them, look, the basics are what's going to get you to the next levels. And now, don't
yeah.
get me wrong, I'll still berimbolo, I'll still do all that crazy stuff, but because it's fun, it's fun to mess around with it. But I think, yeah, most of them resonate because it's just I do have the humor, and I'm not taking myself too seriously, and it's just basic stuff that I'm doing. I think.
Um, Kevin, thank you for a serious answer. I was pulling your leg.
I know, no, I know, yeah,
You know, it's encouraging to hear so many people getting back into jiu-jitsu. I think that there's an untapped collection of white belts, or maybe very early blue belts, which is a cliche out there, that have
yeah,
stopped training for one reason or another, whether that's to have a family, work commitments, personal life, whatever it happens to be. But there's always a draw. Once you've experienced Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, you never really go away.
yeah.
Is that your experience?
Yeah, I've never, since I started, when I became a cop and I signed up, and I always tell this to people that start training with us, because we have some guys that'll come in and go, "Hey, where's so and so? I haven't seen them in a while. Where's this person? I haven't seen them in a while."
Yeah.
And I tell them, I said, when I started jiu-jitsu, the only person right now that I started with that's still training is my brother. out of the group, because there's always that same group on the mats the first
Yeah.
several months, right? You're like, oh, okay, so I know Johnny, whatever, we started together, white belt.
Yeah.
But since I started, the first class I was in to now, there's only one person from that lineup that I remember that's still doing it. It's my brother.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And people do quit on a regular basis. I think a lot of it's due to injury.
Yeah.
They'll say stuff like time and work and stuff, and maybe it's that's a reason too. But I've never taken the most time I've taken off the mats was if I go on a vacation. Even when I'm injured, or right now I got injuries, but I'm doing my doctor's checkups and stuff. But I'm at the point where I can roll safely,
Yeah.
depending on who I'm going with. But it is sad to see so many people get into it, and they love it because they're there every day, and then all of a sudden they stop coming.
Yeah.
Um, and it's one of those. I think it'll never. It's hard to figure out what can make that stop. Um, and even as a gym owner now and a head coach here, I don't know what the answer is, because I'm not a pushy person. I reach out to them
Yeah.
via text message and stuff. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. And the ones
Yeah.
that are going to stick around, they'll message back. But then there's one that are, they're just, they got
Yeah.
stuff coming up, and I don't want to. It's already a cult type, group that we're in, and I want to make it even more culty. Be like, no, you need to come back. It's just like, hey, take your time. But it is cool to see. We've had guys that have come here. One of them, he's in a lot of my videos. He's a blue belt. He started at one of the first Gracie Bajas in Franklin, Tennessee, where I started. And when we opened up here in Mount Juliet, he came in. He had an old gi it was like early 2000s type era Gracie Baja gi. So faded. It was supposed to be blue, but it's like a teal color now, or turquoise, whatever. And he still wore that for so long. And then when we finally switched to the new name and got new gis, we're like, yeah, you're getting a new gi. But it's cool to see him come back, and he's
Yeah.
super into it. His daughter's training now too. So, but yeah, I don't know what the right answer is to keep people on the mats. It's tough to see them
Yeah.
go, but it's hard.
Yeah. I think, I'm just thinking through, because obviously this might be a question that comes up for gym owners, or just people that see others come in and then disappear and go, oh, you do wonder where your friends that love them or hate them. We normally quite love them, but
Yeah.
being able to train with them, choke them, submit them, whatever, and still have a laugh.
Yeah.
And we miss those people
Yeah.
so much. But I think keeping that consistency with you, certainly with your content and with your club, it's just knowing that you're there. I think is the mainstay, that anytime they can come back. But I do
Yeah.
know that I was talking with a couple of friends that have kind of paused training for a while and haven't maybe trained for about 6 months, and they actually feel a lot of fear, because launching back into training, they feel like they've not remembered anything, and just coming back into a space where they haven't been for a while. Have you got
Yeah.
any words of reassurance or comfort for those that haven't been in a gym for a while but used to really love it?
Yeah, that is one too, and I've reached out to people and they've told me that, like, "Ah, man, I'm just afraid to get back into it." So I try to do things. And me as an owner or coach, if that's what I hear that they're afraid of, like, well, come in on, I'll say like Friday or Sunday when I don't have classes. I'm like,
Yeah.
me and so and so are going to do some extra rounds. Come in, we'll go through some stuff. Try to ease them back into maybe like an open mat or a
Yeah.
private or something like that. Not make them pay for the private either. Just say, hey, come in and I'll work on some basics that we are going over this week. Or just reassure them. And I'm notorious for doing this. I still tell the people that train here with us, I go, I'm nervous every class. Not only
Yeah.
because I'm teaching, but every time I slap and fist bump for the first time of the day, I am still nervous, and it never goes away. And it could be with a brand new white belt where I'm like, God, I know how this is going to go more than likely, but it's like, it's still, you're about to, fake fight somebody else but
Yeah.
so I try to reassure them that what you're going through, I go through it still. Other
Yeah.
people go through it, and it's just, you
Yeah.
gotta, just like the first time when you decided to go in and do that first class, you gotta do it all over again. Just try to find, but
Yeah.
at least now you know a little bit more, so you shouldn't get
Yeah.
totally smashed by, like,
I think that's really good. Almost remembering, how scary it was in the first, class, and it's
mhm,
not going to be anywhere near as scary coming back in.
yeah,
If you haven't trained for a while and you're thinking about going back to a class, reach out to a coach that you know, a club that you know, and just try and get yourself back in there, because we just want more people training
Yes.
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. That's it.
Yes. More buddies that we can try to pretend kill. That is what I tell people. We need more more of those more of those people on the mats. In a good way,
Okay.
though. In a friendly
Yeah,
way.
in a very good way. I'm a blue belt, so I'm in my defense mode at the moment, Kevin, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. What has been the highlight of your jiu-jitsu career so far?
Oh boy. Man, there's so many. And hopefully I don't get emotional talking about it. I can't think of one. Um, I get my daughter Anwin. She's almost 5. She started at 3. So recently, because she's been training so long and she did 2 competitions, we got to give her. I gave her her gray white belt, and that was a good moment. Just seeing her, and she still does it. I don't push her on the mats. I don't force her, but she'll always go, "Daddy, is it my class today?" I'm like, "No, not today. It's tomorrow." So that getting her into it is good. Um,
Yeah.
Watching my wife compete for the first time was probably one of the coolest experiences because, oh boy, I'll get emotional. Um,
It's okay. We're holding space
she,
for you.
before she met me, she was in a relationship that wasn't great. Um, and I don't think she'll care about me saying this, but because most everybody knows it was a very bad relationship. Kind of as bad as you can think about it. So her doing anything out of her comfort zone was never a possibility. And then not only did she start doing jiu-jitsu, she decided to do a tournament. And then when she did it, the entire time she had a smile on her face. Never had a look of like fear or doubt or anything like that. Even though the 2 matches she had, she lost, but it was like it went down to the final seconds. It was points. It wasn't like she got totally outworked. And both of the females in her division or her bracket were a different weight class. She was the smallest one, and it was cool to see that, to her go in there and just like coming from what she's been through, and then to do that it was great. It was probably probably one of the coolest. And I mean, other than that, like, that's family stuff related, but I love seeing the
Yeah.
kids that we train, and the kids go, like, kids that are very, very like timid in class, and they're not
Yeah.
really like, they don't look like they may be into it. They're learning, but then they go and do a tournament and they totally just annihilate their competitor. And like
Yeah.
afterwards, just see how excited they are. And I don't think I'm a great coach. I love teaching the kids program. I don't ever say I'm a great kids coach because most of it is them. It's just their mental state that I help them get through. They'll
Yeah.
learn the moves. Everybody learns it. You'll figure it out, but it's helping them get to that mental state and to see them get on the mats and just do everything I tell them to do during the week and then listen to me. I love it when I'm coaching and they look up at me for reassurance or like to listen to what I'm telling them. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
no, focus on the person you're fighting, but yeah, do what I'm telling you to do. It's just, that is also, those are probably like my top 3 moments.
Yeah.
Family stuff,
Oh,
seeing what they've gone through and done, and then the kids we teach, seeing them go to a tournament and totally just get zoned
yeah.
in and do what they need to do.
That's incredible. It sounds like, your wife and your children have found that resilience and support from you and the rest of the family to just have a go and keep going, do it with pride, do it with joy, and just enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
And equally, it's given you the peace of mind, the reassurance, and the pride as well, to see them succeed in their own capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a good thing to have. Be able to see them just go out there and have fun. And I don't care if my daughter ever comes to me and says, I don't want to do jiu-jitsu anymore. I don't care. I'm like, that's fine. Hopefully, if it's when she's a teenager, I can convince her to do at least a class or 2 a week because,
Yeah.
as you get older as a female, you need to know this more than anybody, I think. So,
Yeah, and I think we need to know it more than ever, so that we're not having to use jujitsu anywhere else,
yeah,
because it gives us that mindset, like you were, referencing your time in the law enforcement. It
yeah,
just gives you the ability to talk things through and just understand the mindset of someone that may not know jujitsu, being able to kind of calm the situation and
yeah,
walk away.
exactly. Yeah. That's what we teach. When we teach self-defense in kids, it's always, you see these cool hip tosses that lead into an arm bar or stuff like that. But I tell the kids, even the adults in
Yeah,
self-defense, I'm like, why would you sit on top of somebody to get an armbar when you already got them off you and they're on the ground? If you're standing up, just get away. Like, we're not, it looks cool. It's great, but we're not making a movie. We're trying to save ourselves. So
yeah, exactly. I'm still working on the running, Kevin. That's the next phase of my life, I feel. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu first, running later.
But at least if you can't run away and they catch you, you got your jiu-jitsu to just say, all right, fine, I'll fight you if I have
to. Exactly.
Yeah.
Kevin, I just want to say thank you for sharing everything you have in this episode. Please do share your Instagram so that people can follow your content journey as well as your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school.
Yeah, so pretty much everything, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube will be at Kevin's_Jiu-Jitsu. I do have a meme page. If you're a Jiu-Jitsu enthusiast, you probably already found it and followed it, but Jiu-Jitsu Things is my meme page that I'm still active on. I just don't put my face on any of it. But yeah, those are the two pieces that I have.
Fantastic. Kevin, I want to thank you again for your time. Please go and return to your family and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right. Thank you, and I was glad to be a part of this podcast. So,
thank you for responding.
Yep.
Speak soon.
All right, bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Thanks again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu podcast.